The late Pope Francis considered himself in relationship with his family, his people, and all God's people. In Hope and Autobiography, he sees his story as one of, I quote, of those who have traveled with me, of those who came before, of those who will follow, end of quote. He consistently reminds us that we cannot live in isolation. Instead of building fences, we must build bridges. This disposition is evident in his challenging us to remain committed to the truth of our faith while staying open to humanity, to people of other religions, Christian denominations, and our Catholic family, as demonstrated in the Synod on Synodality.
One of the greatest impact of Pope Francis for me was the convocation of the 16th Ordinary General Assembly of the Synod of Bishops, also known as the Synod on Synodality. I remember gathering all the Synod responses here in the Diocese. One of the topics that has been raised was the role of women in the Church, and they were questioning about the absence or the lack of women's role in the leadership. And then a few months later, we've heard Pope Francis announcing that he appointed some women to take the role of leadership in the Vatican. And this has really inspired me to explore and deepen more on the topic on feminine genius as a way of providing formation, ongoing formation, and education to the women here in our diocese.
But Pope Francis, for me, was everything, because he was a very compassionate, godlike human being. And he had everybody's hearts into consideration. Whatever he did, it was for the benefit of all people. And he recognized that we are all made in God's image. And so that's how he led us. Once the Synod got going, it was like he laid the foundation for us. And now we have a job to do. We have to continue what he started with his good intentions. And hopefully, along with the Holy Spirit, he will direct us as we learn to become more united, both in church and all people, religious people, all religious, all Indigenous people, all the new immigrants who are moving in, all people. This world was built for us, and he recognized that and understood it. So we are going to definitely miss him.
Pope Francis reminded us, and more importantly, he showed us, all of us, our students and our staff, and all of our community, what it means to be kind and generous of spirit and welcoming to all. He was a man that gave us the opportunity to see the godness of who he was. We will miss him, and we'll pray for him.
In his address to the International Federation of Catholic Universities, Pope Francis called on Catholic universities not to be afraid, not to imitate the world, and to make choices that reflect the spirit of the gospel. The influence of that statement helped us at St. Thomas More College to decide to complete the work on our value statement and to define our values as including humility, inherent human dignity, inclusive community, respectful dialogue, service and justice, and truth. And we will take that value statement to our board on Monday, a week after Pope Francis's passing, for approval. And may his spirit stay with us for many, many years.
Pope Francis inspired young people worldwide by emphasizing their role to be active participants in the church and to be protagonists of change. He encouraged young people to live their faith authentically with courage and compassion.
Pope Francis, who was a great inspiration for me in so many ways, particularly as I was engaged in ministry at a parish in Saskatoon, St. Mary's Parish, where there was a real need to reach out to the poor. And Pope Francis's words of reaching out to the peripheries, the incredible image of the church being like a field hospital, really had application at St. Mary's in a community where there is very profound and complex needs. It was clear to me, and again, drawing from Pope Francis's image of the church, reaching out to the poor in the peripheries, that St. Mary's had an opportunity to work and to provide care and safety for those on our streets in partnership with the Salvation Army. It was a discernment that I engaged on with the community, and which led to us now for 2 winters providing a warm-up location for the homeless. Hopefully some of that spirit of Pope Francis touched the hearts. It certainly did mine, and touched the hearts of those in our parish community, and we will continue to move forward in that spirit of reaching out to the poor and to those who are in need, and being a place of compassion and support and hope for those in our neighborhood.
The initiatives that we have undertaken in the diocese in the area of safeguarding have been very much informed by the direction of Pope Francis. Within a year of his becoming Pope, he established a pontifical commission for the protection of minors. Work that we've undertaken since 2019-2020 includes a historical case review of policies and procedures, and a comprehensive safeguarding action plan. So we've done a lot of work, but we know there's a lot more to do, and it is certainly grounded in the messages of Pope Francis to treat people with compassion, respect, and dignity.
Well, today I'm thinking about the legacy of humility that Pope Francis left the world and his efforts to renew relationships with Indigenous peoples. In Laudato Si, he recognized our unique relationships with our lands and how our lands sustain our values and cultures. He came to Canada with an apology in his heart and listened to the people, and he repudiated the doctrine of discovery. With these truths spoken, his legacy invites us all to walk a path of reconciliation and healing.
Pope Francis has had a profound impact on Catholic healthcare, reminding the world that caring for the sick and the vulnerable is at the root of the Church's mission. He called on us to see beyond the illness and to recognize the deep dignity in every person. He challenged Catholic institutions to resist the temptation of becoming businesses, instead remaining true to the mission of service, especially to the poor, the elderly, and those living on the margins. In a world where healthcare is often treated as a commodity, Pope Francis reminded us that healing is a sacred act rooted in love. His words and actions continue to inspire healthcare workers everywhere to embody Christ's own compassion for the sick and the vulnerable.
So the legacy of Pope Francis for me is a legacy of a builder first and foremost of hope. Pope Francis taught us to build hope, continuously planting seeds of hope in some of the darkest areas of the world. He showed us that no matter how big or overwhelming the mess is, we can begin by planting those seeds of hope, looking for encounters, accompanying others, and seeking common areas of justice together.
Pope Francis has and will continue to have a significant impact on my life. A few of the ways that come to mind would be his humility as a leader and how he welcomes everyone into the Catholic faith, especially those who are marginalized.
And went through my prayer journal and thought I would share a quote that spoke to me, as so many quotes in this book, A Good Life, have spoken to me, about God. He leads us to places where humanity is most wounded, where men and women, underneath all appearances, beneath superficiality and far from conformity, continue to seek the meaning of life. God is not afraid. He is fearless. He is always greater than all our plans. He is unafraid of the fringes. So just a simple quote, and there have been so many simple words from Pope Francis, but he's been instrumental in my life, and I'm very grateful for his ministry.
Miserando atque eligendo is the motto that Pope Francis chose for his pontificate. It means by having mercy and by choosing him, and really highlights this beautiful how our call of being disciples is not based on our merit and perfection, but on God's mercies. As a Verbum de Missionary sister, this profound awareness of being called by name, each one of us. And it's not casuality that the first apostolic exhortation, Evangelii Gaudium, is the first pope in all histories that calls each baptized a missionary disciple. We are all and always missionary disciples,